Hey, BeeTeam6, David Burns with you again. Thank you for being a part of BeeTeam6. It's starting to look like spring again. Last week we had an enormous amount of snow, about 8 inches, a very wet snow, and some cold weather. Spring is just going to be like that. I never feel like I'm out of the woods until about May the 1st here in Illinois. It's a nice day today. Bees are starting to fly, not much wind. Sun's pretty strong. Still not warm enough really to get in and inspect the hives. It needs to be about 60 degrees. Everybody just seems like they want to do that too early. And I'm telling you, it is a tremendous risk to take. And I really plead with you, don't inspect your colonies until it's at least 60 degrees. And only then can you pull frames out and take a look at what's in there. So do be careful. Otherwise, you're going to chill the brood. It will die. You'll lose all that pupa. And you can have the disease of chilled brood and rotting bees in your colony. I know it doesn't seem like it's possible, but remember, pupa needs to be kept at about 90 degrees as it incubates in that stage in their cocoon. And I'm holding the camera now. I've got 2 or 3 bees crawling on my fingers, so I'll have to be careful not to squeeze them. But today I want to show you a few things that kind of cool. Get these bees off my hand now. Bees, like I said, are flying really good, and I haven't really started giving them my pollen powder just yet, and you can see some of the bees are carrying in pollen that they're getting from some of the trees now, like maple trees that are giving out, expressing some pollen. Just about 1 minute ago, I did go ahead and fill up my board, and I love feeding bees dry pollen powder out in the open. But since I only did this about 1 minute ago, the bees are just now starting to sniff it out and find it again. So that's a cool thing. I love feeding bees this way. Wow, I think this is the most critical time to feed bees, and this is one of the fastest ways to get pollen into your hives. And in my article today that I send to you, I do talk about the proventriculus valve that bees have in between their foregut and their midgut, and how that valve actually grinds up and pulls out pollen or protein from the honey crop or the honey tank that we know, and pulls it back into the midgut that begins to absorb it and activates all the great glands that the bees need in order to produce royal jelly and wax to begin to be a strong colony. So read that in my tip today. You'll gain a lot. It is under the experienced beekeeper section, but even new beginners can read that and come to understand that. I write beginners material and experienced material, knowing that both of you will read the other's material, right? The experienced beekeeper is going to go ahead and read what I'm saying to the newbies, and there'll be some enlightening going on. And then the beginners are going to read the experienced material anyway, so it's good. It gives you a little bit of simplicity as well as more in-depth material to look at. I want to show you a few more things about feeding bees in the spring. This colony here continues to eat a lot. This is the one I've been tracking along with you, and you can see how they continue to eat my sugar water and the pollen patty. And I do want to, sorry about the wind, I do want to tell you about, I feel that the pollen patties are not as supportive of larvae as is this sugar water that I put the pollen powder into. In other words, I feel like just more of the adult bees that are the ones eating this for their own food, like eating supper and lunch the way we do. But I feel like the bees that are consuming the material that has the pollen in it are the ones that are actually getting fueled to feed the larva. And I always like to shake this up. Sometimes the pollen kind of gets collected at the bottom, and I want to show you this in just a second. Yeah, that's good. Look at the bees in there just I love to watch bees eat food like this. So here you can see an image a picture that I took of the jar lid after I unscrewed it from an empty jar. And notice up close how the bees use their proboscis to insert it into the holes, and notice as far as they could reach, they were consuming, pulling in the pollen. It gets more collected. It doesn't all dissolve completely, so it settles on the lower part of this jar upside down. And notice how much the bees are wanting to consume that. That's kind of a cool image there to know how much bees are wanting protein. And bees are really enjoying flying today. I have not had the time yet on all my colonies to take off the winter bee kind, so bees are using that still as their entrances. So in the future, you know, all of us get busy, including myself, but this is a good time, and if I get time today, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take all the winter bee kinds off and start putting my feeding systems on. It is time to do that, but you can see, boy, bees are just going crazy in and out using that top entrance. And one of the things that you'll notice, like later today when I take this off and I'm going to force bees to start using the lower entrance, you can see that I had this wrapped and taped off, and so it will take these bees probably at least a week for them to really fully embrace and enjoy going in and out the bottom. So don't let that bother you. After you put your feeding system on the top, like we just looked at, they're going to still want to try to go in there, and that's, you know, don't let them, there's no hole or anything. Just force them to start going in and out their usual slot in the bottom, and all will be well. In this case, this is a colony that I did not wrap or close off the bottom. I left it open like that all year, all winter. So they're using both the top entrance. I see pollen going in where the winter bee kind is, but a majority of them are still using the bottom as well. Okay, about an hour later, you can see there's quite a little gathering of bees. It didn't take long for them to start wanting the pollen again.